So this stream is not really meant for anything except for myself because I have a lot of things that I want to be doing and I kind of just wanted to talk about it kind of with myself, but I don't know, just plus also again, I just want to stream often enough, it's like I don't want this to be just a fickle idea that it's just like, hey, I'm just going to stream here time to time. It's like, no, I just want to stream every time, even it's like, yeah, 0 viewers, 0 likes, 0 anything. It's like it doesn't even matter really at this point. It's like I stream to enjoy streaming, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it. But nonetheless though, I need to figure out a few things. And that is, I got so many things I want to be doing, but it's all about prioritizing certain aspects of it and figure out what needs to be done. So like, let's see what color I want to do this. Let's do this color, I guess. What do I want to do? What do I prioritize? And it is the question, isn't it? What do I want to do and what do I prioritize? So, of course, I want to make art, I want to keep drawing. However, something that I kind of pushed away and haven't done in so long is something that made me start this in the first place, which was I wanted to write stories. I wanted to make webtoons. Like, I technically aspire to be a webtoon author, but I've not written a story in a really long time, and every time I do quote, write a story, quote unquote, it usually stems from me drawing something, getting inspired, starting something, and then flunking it, like just just throwing it away because it's like, hey, it's not interesting to me anymore, and that's it. So I need to stop doing that, really. So the first step that I really need to do though is when it comes to that aspect of like, okay, so I guess number one thing I want to do is write a story. But the problem is this: writing a full-on story, in the sense of like a shonen or like a webtoon, those stories are extremely long. They last years and years, and then have a big finale conclusion and stuff like that. It gains a large audience. But of course I know that like it's not simple like that. It's never simple like that. It's very difficult to get anywhere like that. So to get anywhere near that, I need to start off small. So yeah, actually, I think I need to change that my title, because this is no longer really a drawing stream. I was planning to draw during real talking, but then I'm realizing it's not gonna really be helpful, so I'm just gonna be talking, not tailing. Just talk. Just a talk. What you call it? Just a talk. It's not really about film and animation. Let's see. Actually, I guess it's film and animation because it will go along with things going into that. But yeah, write a story. So I guess what I really need to do is practice this whole idea, and that is basically I need to start writing, I guess, short stories. But like, how short are we talking about? Because I've seen how certain short stories play out, and some of them can last like, oh boy, like I didn't read it, but I did see a short story that got released today, and my god, that thing was long. I was willing to read it. I was like, no, I can't read that. That's way too long. So what do I want to do then when it comes to that? And so, okay, if I don't want to read it, that shows that it's not really a short story, but it is, because the definition of a short story is that it is not a novella, because if I'm correct in my terminology, it goes from novella to a short story to novella, a novel, and then kind of more, I guess, like in the broader terms, like a series and stuff like that. And so, like, okay, I don't want to avoid that technically. I want to, I guess, write smaller things, but I guess in the end, like, I guess a decent example of what this could end up being based on like how I want to do things is going to be I guess a good example would be like someone like Merriweather, who writes, who makes comics strips, and like it's kind of like each story is like a series, like it's just like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and can like go up to like part 6 all the way to like I don't know, maybe part 10 or it can go long, it can go short, just depending on how he wants to go with it. And so I was like, okay, how do I want to do it then? And I thought about it, doing comic strips, but then I thought maybe that's like, okay, so the problem with me with comic strips, so okay, here's the options. Okay, I'll put it like this. Write a story. What are some options I could do? So of course the ideas are short stories, but how short are we talking about? So idea is comics, or I guess I'll put comic strips. And so the thing with comic strips, like, is that I have a bad mentality of it, where I just constantly think to myself when it comes to a comic strip that, hey, I want to make a comic strip, but my sense of like framing is bad, because like I've never really done cinematography before. But in my head, whenever I do cinematography, it's not that bad. But that's because the camera is in motion, or everything's in motion. But cinematography of, I guess, still frames is so much more complicated. So how am I going to do that? Like, of course, with that aspect, it's like, that means I just need to study. But what do I study? Well, then I study comic strips. But the thing is, for me, is that, like, then what kind of genre of short stories am I actually thinking about writing? Because most comic strips are usually more comedic or melodramatic, stuff like that. Rarely do you ever see comic strips being yeah. Let's put in again in the aspect, like an idea of like you post a single comic strip and it's like part 1. It's like usually you don't see action versions of those. You rarely ever see action versions of those. And so I was like, okay, so it's not, a terrible idea. It's just in my head when I think about it, I'm like, that's not really something I want to be doing, or it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be difficult to start. And that's the big thing. I'm realizing that, I oftentimes take too big of steps, and so I was like, okay, let's avoid taking the big steps then, and let's try to go smaller steps. But what do I need to do to make those smaller steps? And so, okay, comic strips. That's the idea number 1. But then I thought of something else, which would be, go along with the short stories, maybe just a single storytelling image, just like a keyframe. So I guess keyframe with description. So like, for example, like if you go to like League of Legends, the writers for that for the game, they usually, when it comes to their short stories, they put a, I guess like a concept art. That concept art is basically what dictates the idea, like what's supposed to put in your brain of like what is happening in this story, and such and such. Because the short story I was talking about earlier was actually a story about Yorick and Alawi. And in that image, it showed Alawi looking at Yorick, who is, digging a grave, and she looks concerned but also confused, and Yorick seems kind of somewhat melancholy, even though, the Ruin King's finally gone. And so, like, you can already get that aspect from it because you know the context of it. So with that aspect, I was like, okay, if I want to do short stories with, a key frame, a key image, it's all about, I need to focus on understanding how express different types of emotions, or like not just a singular emotion, because oftentimes whenever you draw something, you oftentimes draw something with a single expression in mind. It's really hard to draw something, in my opinion, with multiple emotions in mind. So like, again, like the idea of confusion, but not like in the like confusion. It's more like a confusion. It's kind of hard to draw that, in my opinion, because again, the confusion is more like, you just make an exaggerated drawing of someone being like, what the heck, like I guess like, that kind of thing, just the eyebrow raise. So like, that aspect is kind of easier, but then like, let's try to like, simply draw someone like, I guess that kind of works. This kind of works, but at the same time, that's more sad almost. It kind of gives off more of like a sad vibe. So it's not necessarily something that's like, oh yeah, that'll definitely work. So, and plus also with those images too, they're not, manga style, I'll call it. They're very well drawn freaking images. So it's like, that's kind of hard to do. So it's like, yeah, with this the kind of art that I make currently, is like, yeah, it's not gonna really work with that. It's or at least like, the problem with the art that I make currently is that it needs to be a lot more epic, I guess I'll say, in an epic sense. So it's like, I can't just do like a simple drawing of someone going like hee hee ha ha. It's more like I need to draw like a scenery and stuff. So keyframes, definitely I can learn a lot more, because here's the thing, comic strips is simple. It's a lot more simpler, but then when it comes to a keyframe, it requires so much more detail, because the comic strips tend to just, it kind of separates the details all over. And also, usually comic strips, they actually, at least for the ones I've seen, a lot of them lack backgrounds. It's just all the characters interacting with each other, and maybe like if you want to just draw a bush, like that, right there. So with that aspect, I'm like, okay, that's kind of like a little more difficult on my end. So I don't know, I'm leaning more towards of comic strips. I am leaning more towards that, because hey, it just seems a lot more possible, I'll say. But that's the things that I need to understand. How do I frame things? And also, again, the number one thing though is to write the story. I need to write the story if I really want to do something like this. I have to write stories out. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to start drawing something and I'm going to think of something on the spot. It's like, no, I need to write something first in order to put something out there. So who knows, maybe I can get there. I don't know, I'll try that. So like, yeah, that's that first part. What's something else I was thinking about? Yes, so the next thing is, I guess like what the category of the stream is animation. Let me fix that. I really want to do more animations. And I have thought of ways to do the animations. Of course, most of the ways I've thought about it are extremely complex. And the only thing I've ever been able to animate, and I can say safely that it's decent, maybe enough, is this thing. A rat falling in the sky. My little, original character rat falling in the sky. Only animation I've ever done that actually kind of like, I'm actually a bit proud of. And so I was like, okay, so what do I need to do? And I recently got very inspired by an artist named Ado. Her recent music video called, or song called I Am a Controversy, has an animation, and it's honestly, it made me go in awe, because like there's other artists, like another one's Eve, and most of his music videos are just wonderfully animated. It's just so good. And like a lot of the animations too, I can say, is like they're not like high class animations like from what's it called, I guess I'll call like Trigger, Bone, what's another studio that's top of my tongue, Mappa, there's one, stuff like that. It's not like that high level, but still good. It's still really good because the people who are animating understand what they're envisioning and just be able to do it and translate it well, and like they understand how to do proper squashes and stretches and how to connect every single frame to each other without having anything feel disconnected. And with me, it's like, oh, I can see that. I've always been able to see that because I've studied animation in the sense of like just solo studying, not like actually in class or anything like that, or people teaching me. It's like I've watched animation, I understand animation. I can see something, I'm like, oh, there, like I'm like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. It's like, oh, right there, yeah, that right there, yeah, I know it, I know that. Like I can see animation techniques. I understand how someone is able to draw something animated, but as far as me being able to apply it, it's never been possible for me. So how do I do that? Well, in the end, it's very simple. I practice. I need to do it. And so maybe I can do this. From now, okay, this is just a possibility. I'm not guaranteeing anything at this point, but maybe from now on for my streams, I'll do animation. Like I'll practice animating and like make full-on animations instead of just drawing. Because oftentimes I think to myself, like when it comes to my drawing streams, yeah, some of them are good, but a lot of the times I realize that like it's nothing to really take anything from. Like maybe if I made an informative video on like how to properly study drawing, then maybe, sure, I could maybe, record myself, stream it, and like do shit like that. But as far as like actually like what I stream, I realized that like my drawing streams tend to be kind of meh, they're not entertaining, I'll say. I know that for a fact, because like, again, what makes a good drawing stream is drawings making actual progress and actually looking good. Not just sketches, not a bunch of sketches, not just, unfinished art. It's all finished art, and most of the things I've drawn are never really completely finished. So I think to make my time worthwhile, I should probably, possibly stream my my journey through animation. Because again, my drawing streams, I really feel like they don't really reach towards anyone. But if I start animating while I stream my animation practice, I study, hey, who knows, might get somewhere. Yeah, that's an idea, I guess. So that means though, outside of my streams, what I need to do for myself is write. But that could be a funny thing, an idea too, maybe, is stream writing. Basically, just put a document on the screen and just type out short stories and stuff like that. Like that might be entertaining. That definitely though requires people, unlike what's currently happening. You got this, Jonathan. But yeah, so like, yeah, write a story. I could do that, but yeah, I just realized though, like most of the times when I'm doing streams and like it's just drawing streams, like it just feels so empty. That's the biggest problem I see with myself when it comes to that. It just feels so empty. It doesn't feel like there's any essence in it. It's always the the lack of essence is like, okay, how do I fill that essence? Fill the time with something a little more worthwhile. Because I realized that my pattern when it comes to drawing streams anyway is that they're all thrown away in the end, or they just sit in my drawing folder, collecting dust, getting nothing. I never finished them, but like maybe with the animation, with the continuous process of like having to have the idea of like I have to fix this or I have to keep going, or like, hey, there's a lot of mistakes I can make along the way, but maybe it'll be a little more fun for me, So maybe that's what I can do. I'll actually do that. So I think, yeah, I can definitely try to do animation streams. It'll be interesting, and of course I should start off very simple, and I could possibly, who knows? I could do story time streams, but I have to really think deeply about that. But of course, the number one thing I thought about when it came to this is like, because again, I've been inspired by a lot of animations for music videos, and I'm like, what if I took my own spin on some music that I like that don't have animations, and I innovate it. Of course, it won't be official, but it'll be kind of like a fun little thing where I can just post them as shorts. That'd be cool, maybe. I could probably get my shorts, YouTube Shorts career started. But yeah, that's an idea. So let me put the YouTube Shorts. But yeah, now with that being said, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something more into this list of like, what do I want to talk about and stuff. Let me think. Because again, of course, story writing, animation. I guess some other personal things I need to work on. Oh yes, definitely that though. Okay, so yeah, something to mention is that I technically have commissions for some friends. One of those commissions is making emotes, and I think maybe I can make a variety of emotes and start potentially selling them. But that's something I need to really not really figure out, but more like I need to kind of understand what I'm doing. So like I need to maybe practice that. So another thing, some extra stuff is emotes. After emotes, there are VTuber models, because I am working on Chris's VTuber model, and I really need to work on that. Like that thing's been on hold for a while. That's mainly because like Live 2D is such a it's not bad. It's just that whenever I try doing Live 2D, it just oftentimes feels so and I think it's definitely something to do with my brushes, because like the thing about Clip Paint Studio is that there's a wide variety of brushes out there, a lot, and there's a lot of references too. There's a lot of material that can be used. It's just that usually I have this habit of I find something I like, I keep using it until I realize, hey, this doesn't help me at all. Because for a long time I've been using these two pens right here, which you can't see, but here's an example. They're both kind of like manga pen, because they're both they kind of like simulate ink. But then I found this brush, which is more of like a paintbrush, and I learned that like for more like the anime like drawings, they usually use paintbrushes, the more colorful ones. And so that's why I realized that a lot of the drawings that I did that have required some color that were in the manga pen just didn't really sit well. It didn't look right, and sometimes it looked muddy. But that's another thing that in the end too is like I really need to practice coloring. But like I definitely need to look for brushes, so like just research and stuff. So like so I'll just put it like this, research. Because like I realized that again, it's a bad habit of mine where I'm like, when I'm doing something, I'm like, hey, I want to just do this and that. It's like, no. If I want to do this and that, I can't stay stagnant. I have to, grow up. I need to do things more. So yeah, there's that. Definitely a lot of things about timing and scheduling. Because again, as mentioned before, I do want to stream more often, and I kind of do have the mindset of I want to stream because it's something I want to do in the future. But at the same time, it's that's the thing that's been hitting me in reality recently. It's like, wow, like it might not be possible, especially if you're not okay. Look, I don't know. Like the thing is like this. I feel like I'm in a tight spot, basically. Whereas, like, I'm at a key point in my life and have to figure things out now. But I am oftentimes reassured by the idea that, like, there's a lot of people out there that I, look up to and stuff like that. But, like, the thing is that they've been grinding it out for a lot longer to get where they are. It wasn't like, one day they decided to do something to boom, got instant fame. No. It took a long time to get where they are. And I just needed to, accept the fact that, hey, 0 concurrent viewers on average for most of my streams. Hey, tell me more. What's the worst that can happen? You know, like, especially when I've just only recently started to stream more often, because like I streamed a bit last year, and those streams, they weren't popular either. This year it's been a little better, but one stream popped off, but that's just because a friend put in his Discord channel. But like, that's the thing I'm really bad at too. I'm bad at advertising myself, because the main reason why I'm bad at advertising myself is because I hate the idea of me pushing my own like face into other people, like, hey, watch my streams and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, if I really want to make this my career, then it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to do that at some point. You're gonna have to make people uncomfortable. But yeah, that's the thing though. It's like, what counts as more popular streams these days? It's like, okay, let me think. What was more popular streams? And yeah, like, I can think about it. It's like gaming streams. Gaming streams definitely do a lot more popular, right? But that's the thing. It's like, I thought about it. There's some games I do want to stream, but at the same time, it's like, especially some of the games I want to play now streams, like, yeah, they're not gonna get any kind of viewership, but hey, if I can catch, like, there's a few games that are coming out. Maybe if I just stream those games, who knows? Maybe something good will happen, but I'll have to see with that. But oh boy, I'm getting tired. I might not study more after this, but I'm probably gonna have to try studying a little more so I can wake up early and stuff. But we have a test tomorrow. It's on statistics, and this chapter had a lot of probability, and I fucking hate probability. But yeah, what am I gonna do though? As far as like, if I want to, grow. So first off, just to fill in some time, 11:11 by the way, for my time, 11:11, my wish. I'm gonna think it to myself, I guess. I won't say it out loud. Okay, I think I made my wish. Yeah, so yeah, during my free times, instead of like, there's nothing wrong with me doodling, I'll say, but like, doodling and sketching are different things, and definitely I need to do this too. Is like, I need to really not, well, it's kind of hard to say this, but yeah, not be afraid to go out. It's like, I do go out, but I really do go out in the sense of like, hey, making myself a little uncomfortable and going out to like, that large park nearby and stuff like that. It's like, maybe I should do that more, kind of sit down, take in the scenery. But sometimes I feel like, I do myself like, dang, like, I hate the idea of me going out into like an environment like that all by myself. Like, if only I had a friend. But at the same time, I do need to take it in myself, because like, again, actually, let me find it, because I feel like I really need to live by these words a little more better. It's this little phrase that my teacher gave me. Let's find it. Okay, let's see. I think this is it. Yeah. So let me write it here, and I might put it on my own. I want to. Oh, that'd be something. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let me do it. So, explore, expose, engage. So the thing about these 3 words is that this is a teacher who gave it to me because she was able to see my growth as an individual, and she, I won't say no, she definitely did. She had a better understanding of me as a person than I did for myself, because I was so confused at the time. And basically, she gave me these 3 words and told me, hey, like, your writing can save people. And that's the main reason. I really need to like kind of put that in my head. It's like, what's the main reason why I wanted to write in the first place? And it's like, I technically wanted to help people, because I oftentimes find myself being so stuck. Okay, you know what? I think for a little bit, just for a little bit, I'm gonna be doodling while talking about this. But yeah, like, I find myself being so stuck. I might be myself being stuck and not sure on what to do because I'm just not sure on what to do. I really think it's so hard for me to doodle and talk at the same time, so yeah, I might have to stop doing this. Oh no. Actually, I had some here. Okay, this might be easier to do. I don't know. It might be a little harder, but yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna say this. This character ain't gonna be anything really, but just to put something on the screen while talking. Yeah. So. Yeah, to explore, expose, and engage. Because she basically kind of gave me the idea that I can actually help people. Because that's something I really wanted to do for a really long time. Because, I mean, when I think about every single job application that I've ever had in mind, it's a lot of times something that can help people. Because I remember the first thing I really wanted to, as a kid, what I wanted to become was a firefighter. Then after that, a firefighter, it was a police officer, and after police officer, that's when I kind of lost interest and wasn't sure what I wanted to become. And then enter university, and I actually had the idea of becoming a prosthetics engineer. That didn't go that way, of course. I'll just say that. But I think about it, it's like, yeah. And also, funnily enough, at one point I actually did. That's right. At one point, I wanted to become a motivational speaker. I wanted to motivate people because I was in such a dark time, and I wanted to tell people like, hey, you're not alone. I truly am one of you. Like that kind of talk. But at the same time, of course, I already know that kind of talk doesn't get to people. But yeah, I just wanted to help people, feel better about themselves, because I've been in that place where it's like it feels impossible to do anything. And I wanted to, I want to encourage people to be like, hey, you're not alone. It's not even about not just you're not alone. You're capable. You can do it. Just gotta, it sucks, but you gotta make that first step. That's really it. You gotta step up. You gotta do your own thing. It's not about waiting and hoping that the right moment will come. It's like, no. Sometimes you gotta make the right moment yourself. But yeah, when it comes to the 3 words though, let's get at you. Yeah, so explore, expose, and engage. Basically, I need to explore. She's telling me, hey, get out there. Stop being so stagnant. Stop staying in that. Don't stay in your room. Go out there. And so I was like, okay, with the idea of like, hey, I go out there. Into the world. Into an environment with lots of people that I could talk to, interact with. Expose. What does expose me? Not only am I exposing myself to the environment, but basically I need to myself. Okay, I need to expose others, but not in like in like a malicious way. It's more like get them comfortable enough to talk with me, because again, like it's about me wanting to talk to them, and I want them to talk to me. So it's like expose them. Expose your feelings so that they can expose their feelings. And that's when I need to explore, which is not only, but like the thing is about the explore thing is that it's not just, hey, explore, go out there. Oh wait, no, engage, my bad. The third one's engage. Engage with them. So they told me everything. What do I do? Do I just leave it at that? It's like, no, engage with it. Talk about them, talk about what they just, talked about. For example, if they tell you a problem, engage with the problem. Figure it out. Of course, I've learned through my few years. I've learned through my experiences that you can't always force yourself into the process. But by allowing yourself to be there, it gives them the opportunity to think twice about, hey, maybe I should talk about this with, or maybe I should get some advice. So it's all about that, really. It's like, hey, you should get out there and stuff. And so with that idea, it's like, all right, okay. And so, I had that, in my mind ready back then, but then that kind of got muddled out throughout the years, and kind of just now thinking about it again, I'm just like, yeah, that's right. I got to explore, expose, and engage. What have I done these past few years, though? Have I, explored? A tad bit. Not really, but a little bit. Have I exposed? I exposed myself a lot. I exposed maybe a little bit about other people. Engage with them? Yeah, I've engaged with a lot of people. But has there been anything super interesting? No. There's never been anything where I'm like, whoa, there's something to talk about. It's like, it's just, it's been good. It's been simple. That's really it. That's the truth, to be honest. Like, I get stressed out and such, but man, like, I gotta be honest, a lot of these times, it's really been super simple and super straightforward, so there's nothing really for me to be like, oh my god, about. It's just more like, yeah, that happened. So what do I need to do, though, with that idea? It's like, okay, going back to this. No, not that. We can get rid of that horrific thing. When it comes to my writing, I need to try going into that depth of, like, we all know this, we all know this. We've all learned this in elementary school. When it comes to a story, we got introduction, rising action, conclusion, falling action. Climax. My bad. Falling action, climax. That's the idea, right? Introduction, introduce characters, introduce setting, introduce the conflict. Rising action, what happens during the story, what escalates everything. Climax, oh my goodness, the biggest point of the story, the big bam boom fight. Falling action, everything's slowly being concluded, and then finally again, conclusion. Everything's resolved. And so with a short story, it's like, the formula is very simple. You introduce a setting or a conflict. You start escalating things by doing some stuff. Boom, being like the big thing that makes the audience go gasp. Falling action is things start to slow down a bit after that climax, and then finally the conclusion of, alright, everything's settled. Of course, though, with short stories, though, what makes it nice too is that, technically speaking, you don't have to include this section at all. You don't have to. You really don't have to include this section at all for a short story, because sometimes a short story can have a open ending. So I was like, hey, no conclusion, just falling action. Then what happens? Who knows? Rarely ever do you do a situation where you take out the falling action, though, because if you leave at the climax, it's kind of like, so what happens? It's not an open ending, it's more just a unfinished ending. So you never want to do that. You just want to, if you want to put some mystery into it, take away the conclusion, leave the falling action. And so like, maybe with that aspect of things, it's like, okay, I'll do that then. I'll make a story. Quickly, make 3 characters in my mind. Setting, conflict. Oh my, let's go as simple as 3 heroes fighting the demon lord. What occurs during that fight? Oh my god, one of the hero dies. Or, oh my god, the villain dies. Things de-escalate. But then, what is this? Demon Lord's crown is still intact. But yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's just something like that. So, with that aspect of things, it's like, okay, yeah, I can try doing that in my free time, whatever I have nothing else to do. Just write up a quick story. It doesn't have to be anything super long, doesn't have to be anything super complex. It doesn't need to be completed. And that's such a key point, in my opinion, of when it comes to things, is that I oftentimes fall into that stupid mindset of, when I write a story, it needs to be completed. I need to write a full manga series, man. It's like, no, like Masters of the Art, like wait, what's his name? I don't remember his name right now. The guy who made One Piece. He has been writing his story for so long. When he started writing it, did he have a conclusion in his mind? Maybe he did. But along the way, was every chapter already planned out? I very much doubt it. If he did, not only is he still a god, he is ascended beyond God. But yeah, so for me, it's like, what do? Okay, well, just go through my freaking OneDrive into my Google Docs and just find 100 different short stories that I've already written that have no ending to them, and just start from there, maybe. Because hey, who knows? Maybe I could do that. I'll just do that. I'll just start from there. A bunch of short stories, and then maybe boom, one of them hits me a little differently, and I think to myself, you know what? I'll keep working on that. Why not? So yeah, that's something to actually add in here. Just to kind of like put in perspective, like what needs to be done, maybe. Go to Google Docs and find left stories. Because yeah, I have a lot. Like I remember I deleted a few. One of them was extremely cringe because I think I wrote it in 9th grade or something like that, and it was like a romance story, and it was so bad. That's why I got rid of it, because I was like, no, I am not allowing anyone to know about this thing that I created in the past. Oh dear. Oh yeah, and that's actually another thing too that I realized now. It's something, but yeah, besides the story writing, besides the animation, and besides, I mean, that's really it. So, oh yeah, I guess drawing, that goes with the animation though. So you got the writing, the animation, what else is there? Voice acting, actually. I had an idea of a video series where I would create comic panels, post each panel, with maybe some music in the scenery, but also voice acting. Yay! And the voice acting would be done by yours truly, but also, people around me, some friends, maybe I can ask them like, hey, would you be interested in doing a little bit of voice acting? Of course, I can't pay you because I got no fucking money. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'll just do that. Maybe I'll do that. And lo and behold, maybe I could do that again. Maybe I should do that. Because again, I thought about it. Like, I wouldn't say I have a huge range of voices, but I can't do it now because I have to get really loud, but I can voice Elmo. And I can also, one of my favorite things to imitate is a character from League, Fiddlesticks, because I understand kind of how that voice actor is able to do his voice acting when it comes to giving Fiddlesticks his voice. And so, yeah, I'll just do that. And with me, it's like, hey, there's a lot of voices that I can also not just imitate, but also create myself. And so I was like, hey, I think that'd be fun to do, just voice act. Also, I realized, yeah, I'm doing a lot of freaking tongue clicks. I freaking hate it. Like, I've listened to myself before when I recorded myself doing videos, and it's just like, yeah, I hate myself when I do this. Like, thankfully, it's not noticeable when it comes to recording gameplay, but just freaking doing this right here, right now, just talking. Yeah, it's so bad. So I need to kind of like practice with that as well. But voice acting will come in later, because like I'm not like a top tier of no one's really told me, hey, you're good at voice acting. It's just more like, hey, I think to myself, hey, that's a different voice to use. Yeah, that's interesting right there. Yeah, honestly, yeah, just gotta take things step by step, really. So I guess it's only 11:28. It's almost 45 minutes into the stream. Like I said, it'd be less than an hour, so I'm gonna wrap up now. I'm gonna just wrap up some thoughts. So gonna start off by going to my Google Docs, maybe find something, but of course I need to study a little bit more maybe. But later, when I have free time, go through my Google Docs, find the story that's not finished, kind of pick a section that, you know, has this plot line of introduction, rising action, climax, and then falling action, and go from there. And of course, like from there, like, you know, fix up the writing, maybe and then like kind of maybe lay out the comic panels, and I can, you know, start drawing it, because like, hey, why the heck not? And as far as animation goes, that might be a streaming thing, but also, yeah, like I realized also, like, I had like what, 7 or 8 like more than that, of course, but I know like I've only had drawing streams for so long, and it's like, yeah, I should do, if I want to, you know, comment like more than just a artist channel, I guess I'll say. Game, I got a lot of games to play, and like, yeah, of course not a lot of people come to watch it, but also that's the thing I might do, I'm not exactly sure, but streaming from YouTube feels like it's not impactful. I don't feel like people come to YouTube to explore when it comes to the stream section. They only come to watch, you know, a bunch of shorts, and then maybe find a video or two that are memes, and then watch their subscribe channels, and then leave. I think possibly Twitch would be a lot easier when it comes to the whole idea of streaming and being, you know, found by random people, but we'll see. I might do that. Who knows? I might stream from Twitch. Might keep doing YouTube. Nonetheless, though, I definitely do need to make new videos and new content on here, so okay, that scared me. The thing was, the stream was loading, so I thought I disconnected. Yeah, I'll take things step by step, though. Gotta go study now, so. Alright, definitely, though, I might watch this myself again, so future Jonathan, you know, get your ass to work. And if anyone decides to watch this VOD, thank you. Alright, peace, goodbye.